Good morning, students. Myself, K. Lakshmi, Assistant Professor in the Department of SNH, Chevrolet Engineering College. Now, today's topic is introduction about diffraction and also types of diffraction. In the last sessions, we discussed about the interference topic. That means what is the principle of superposition? What are the conditions for obtaining interference pattern? Interference on a thin film. And also we discuss about the Newton's rings experiment. And also we discuss about the applications of Newton's rings, that is determination of wavelength of the given sodium light and also determination of refractive index of the given liquid. Now, in this class, we discuss about the diffraction topic. So first of all, what is diffraction? So when light falls on obstacles, it bends around the corners of the obstacle. So here, what is the meaning of obstacle? Obstacle means a small aperture. For example, this is the bulb. So these are the light rays which are emitting from the bulb. Now, in this path, if there is any window or something, any door, so this is act as a obstacle for the light falls. So that is the meaning. Once again, I explain that. So this is the light, some example bulb. Now these are the light rays emitted. Now in the path of light rays, if there is any door or any window or any something in the path of the light ray, I mean anything, any object. So this object is act as a obstacle for the light rays. So now at this obstacle, that means at the corners of the obstacle, this light ray is bent to travel like this. And some of the rays are, they travel in the same direction as usual, the initial direction. But still, some of the rays at the corners are bent. So like this. So here the bending property of light, that is the bending around the corners of the obstacle, that is the property of light, which is named as diffraction. So simply, the bending property of light is nothing but diffraction. So the amount of bending depends upon the size of the obstacle and the wavelength of the wave. So the diffraction effects are observed only when a portion of wavefront is cut off by some obstacle. So this will be explained with another picture also. For example, if this is the bulb and here these are the wavefronts, that means light waves are emitting like this wavefronts. Now, among the path of the wavefront, there is some obstacle is there. So here at the obstacle, it starts secondary wavefronts like that. So this bending property of light is nothing but diffraction. So simply the wavefront is cut off by some obstacle is due to the phenomena of diffraction. So that is the introduction about diffraction. So next, what is the difference between interference and diffraction? So it is the superimposition of secondary wavelets from two different wavefronts produced by two coherent sources. Okay, that means, for example, let us take so for example, this is the bulb. Okay, these are the wavefronts. Okay, now here in the path of wavefront, there are two slits. Once again, I clearly draw that. So this is the bulb. There are two slits here. So these are the wavefronts emitted by this light. Now, due to this obstacle, for example, this is obstacle, let it be A. Okay. So here a new wavefront is formed. Now this is the another obstacle B. Again, here a new wavefront is formed like that. Okay. So here, due to these two slits, again, this single wavefront is split into two wavefronts. Now by the superimposition of, that means mixing of these two wavefronts, at a screen, dark and bright fringes are observed. So this is the phenomena of interference. Okay. That means here we need two coherent sources. By the superimposition, dark and bright fringes are formed. That is the interference. Okay. Then what about the diffraction? Okay, again I will draw. It is the bulb. Now these are the wavefronts. Okay. Now here, each and every point on this primary wave, this is called primary wavefront. So each and every point creates secondary wavefronts like this. So here also creates secondary wavefronts. Here also secondary wavefronts. Now, by the superimposition of these secondary wavefronts, the phenomena is nothing but diffraction. Diffraction. So, I think it is clear to all. In interference, two slits are there, but that means two coherent sources are there. But whereas in diffraction, each and every point creates secondary wavefronts. Now, by the superimposition of these secondary wavefronts, finally, diffraction pattern is formed. So that is the main difference between interference and diffraction. So I think it is clear to all. Okay. Now, once again, I repeat this definition. It is the superimposition of secondary wavelets from two different wavefronts. Okay. This is also superimposition of secondary wavelets, but these secondary wavelets are formed at various points of the same wavefront. Okay. That will be clearly explained by taking some example bulb. Okay. Now, and the next difference is fringes are equally spaced. Fringes are unequally spaced. Bright fringes are same intensity. Intensity fall rapidly. So I will take clearly with this white paper. Okay. So this is the intensity distribution curve for interference. Okay. This is the intensity distribution curve for interference. This peak indicates the maximum intensity case. This indicates the minimum intensity case. In interference, this is the intensity distribution curve for interference. Intensity distribution curve for interference. As I already said that the maximum intensity indicates the bright fringe and minimum intensity indicates the dark fringe. Now, what is the intensity distribution curve for diffraction? I will show that. So I will show that. So this is the intensity distribution curve for diffraction phenomenon. So this is the intensity distribution curve for diffraction phenomenon. Okay. Now, all the maximum intensity cases or gives the bright fringe in interference case. Then what about in diffraction? So in diffraction, actually in interference, we have only two cases, maximum, minimum. Maximum means bright fringe. Minimum means dark fringe. Whereas in diffraction, there are three cases are existed. The first one is, this is the central maxima case. Central maxima, or it is also named as principal maxima. And these both are, that means on both sides of the central maxima, they are named as secondary maximas. They are named as secondary maximas. Okay. Then what about all these? These cases are all belongs to minima. These all or belongs to minima. Once again, I repeat. In interference, there is only two cases are exist. One is maxima, which is bright case, bright fringe case. The other one is minima, which indicates a dark fringe. Whereas in diffraction, this is the intensity distribution curve in case diffraction. It has three cases. In the first, that is the maximum intensity. The first one is central maxima, or it is also named as the principal maxima. And on both sides of the central maxima, there are two maximas are there. They are having equal maximas, and they are named as secondary maximas. And all these intensities below, they are minimas. Okay. Now, you remember these both pictures. That means intensity distribution curve for interference and diffraction. Then we can easily understand what is the differences between interference and diffraction. You all remember these pictures, okay? Now, we will go to here. So the fringes are equally spaced. Actually, I show that there are two cases are existed, maxima and minima. They are equally spaced. But here the intensity distribution curve, you observe that the fringes are not equally spaced. I will show that once again here. So this is the picture for interference. And this is the picture for diffraction. Okay. So fringes are equally spaced. So here the fringes are equally spaced. But here the fringes are not equally spaced, unequal spaced. Bright fringes are of same intensity. So all the bright fringes are having the same frequency, same intensity. And whereas this is the highest intensity and these are the less intensity as compared with this central maxima case. That means intensity is falls rapidly. And next, comparing with diffraction, it has a large number of fringes. So like that. So these are the large number of fringes are formed. But here it has a less number of fringes are formed. So I think you can clearly understand what is the differences between interference and diffraction with the help of this intensity distribution curve. So these pictures are very important. I will give along with your PDF. You can easily understand that. Now we will go to the next slide. So, condition of diffraction. The diffraction pattern is seen if the size of the diffracting obstacle is of same order, of the same wavelength, of the wavelength of light used. And that means, so here it is the bulk. If this is an obstacle, already I said that. Let us take an example, whether a door or window like that. If the size of the obstacle is changes, that means if this is the size of the obstacle, okay, so these are the wavefronts and these are the wavefronts are formed. If in case the size of the obstacle will be changes like that, then the pattern of the wavefront will be also changes. So the main important point is here, size of the obstacle. That size of the obstacle is same order of wavelength light is used. If in case the size of the obstacle is less than the wavelength of the light, then we cannot clear diffraction pattern observed. We cannot observe the clear diffraction pattern. Okay, that is the main condition for obtaining good diffraction pattern. Okay, now we will go to the next slide. That will be clearly understand how the diffraction pattern is formed. As you observe the first figure, if the wavelength of the light is too small as compared with width of these obstacles, here the A is width of the obstacle. Here the A is, this is the obstacle width. So when obstacle width A is too greater than as compared with the wavelength of the light, then after obstacle, it is not a good formation of diffraction. Okay. As you observe this figure, as the wavelength is of the light is greater than compare with the width of the slit. So here a good diffraction pattern you observe. So the good condition is nothing but A less than lambda. So I think you clearly understand what is the good condition for obtaining good diffraction pattern. So the good condition is this one, that is A less than lambda. Okay. Now, I will explain about the types of diffraction. Diffraction phenomena are first developed by Fresnel. So, in this syllabus, we discuss about the two types of diffraction. The first diffraction phenomena was demonstrated by Fresnel. So that's why this type of diffraction is called Fresnel diffraction. And next, Fraunhofer diffraction. The next scientist developed by the, demonstrated the diffraction phenomena is Fraunhofer's. So that's why this type of diffraction is called Fraunhofer diffraction. Okay. Now, what are the differences between these Fresnel and Fraunhofer diffraction? Once again, I repeat, what is the diffraction? Diffraction means bending of light rays. So it is the clear picture, you know. This is the slit. Actually, the slit is nothing but obstacle or aperture. So at the corner of the obstacle, the light rays are starting bending here. When you observe that, this bending property is nothing but diffraction. So, according to Fraunhofer, the class of diffraction source and screen are placed at infinite. In this case, wavefront which is incident on the aperture or obstacle is plane. Okay. So I will clearly explain by drawing some pictures here. Okay. So this is the Fresnel and it is a Fraunhofer. Okay. Now, in Fresnel and Fraunhofer, how the source and screens are there. In case of Fresnel, let us take a candle. So these are the candle, light waves emitting through this candle. That means it is the source of light. Source of light. So this is the screen. Okay. This is the screen. Now, these light rays are easily incident on this screen like this. Okay. Here we don't have any lens is used for parallel beam of light for the conversion of parallel beam of rays. And this is the light source. That means source and screen are at a finite distance. Okay. So whatever the wavefronts emitting by the candle or like that, actually the shape of the wavefronts is like a spherical shape. That means these wavefronts are incident on the screen in a spherical shape. Why? Because the source, that means the candle, and the screen are at a finite distance. So this is the arrangement in Fresnel diffraction. Then let's go to the Fraunhofer diffraction. In this case, we have to take example sun. Sun is a light source. Now, these are the wavefronts emitted by the sun. Here, there is a screen on the earth. There is a screen on the earth. So here, we need a convex lens. Why? Because to convert these sun rays as a parallel beam of rays. Why? Because these sun rays are traveling a long distance. So we need a lens. And also, as these wavefronts are move very long distance, that means the shape of the wavefronts, that means the spherical shape of the wavefronts, due to long distance, they converted as a parallel wavefronts when they meet on the screen. That means due to long distance, these wavefronts are converted into plane wavefronts. So that is the main difference between Fresnel and Fraunhofer. Once again, I repeat. In Fresnel diffraction, we have to take candle as an example. That means as a light source. So this is the screen. That means the source and screen are at a finite distance. Whatever the wavefronts emitted by the light, that is in a spherical in shape, even though they move from candle to screen, still on the screen, they incident in the shape of a spherical wavefront. And here, source and screen are at a finite distance, so we have no used lens here. Then what about Fraunhofer diffraction? Here, we have to take the example sun, and the screen is on the earth. Whatever the light rays emerged by the sun, they incident on the screen with the help of convex lens. Otherwise, these light rays are not incident on the screen. That means here we compulsory use convex lens. And one more difference between Fresnel and Fraunhofer is, whenever the spherical wavefronts are move very long distance, and finally they reach on the screen, which is on the earth, they converted as a plane wavefront because of they travel very long distance, you know. So that is the differences between Fresnel and Fraunhofer diffraction mainly. Okay, I think all of you clearly understand with these pictures. Now simply I will go to the differences between Fresnel and Fraunhofer diffraction directly. Okay. So here, this is the explanation about the Fresnel. Point source of light is used. That means candle is a taking as a point source. That means very narrow source. And whatever the wavefront instant on the abstractile, I mean screen, it is in a spherical shape. Already I discussed in the picture. And also in Fresnel, source and screen are at a finite distance. And here we cannot use a lens. That is the Fresnel diffraction. Okay. Source is point source, that is candle, and the wavefront instant on the screen is spherical in shape, and source and screen are in a finite distance. Here we cannot use any lens. Then what about the Fraunhofer diffraction? The source is extended source. That means sunlight is a best example for extended source. Okay. So here, the abstractile or aperture is nothing but screen. The light is instant in a plane wavefront. I already explained that why spherical wavefront is converted as a plane wavefront due to the travel very long distance. Okay. Now, the source and screen are at a infinite distance. Why? Because the source is taken as a sunlight and the screen is taken on the earth. So the distance between the sun and earth is very long distance. That means they are at a infinite distance. So to converging the rays, here we use a lens. So I think you all understand clearly about what is the Fresnel diffraction and what is the Fraunhofer diffraction. So these are the pictures indicates the Fraunhofer diffraction. This is the lens and this is the slit. And here it is the source which is at a long distance. With the help of lens only, we can observe the image on the screen. Okay. Now what about Fresnel? When you observe the Fresnel diffraction, there is no lens here. And the source and screen are at a finite distance. And this is source is also very narrow source, I mean pointed source. So that is the differences between Fresnel and Fraunhofer diffraction. I think all of you clearly understand the topic, today's topic. Now, I will conclude this today's session. Thank you to all. Ma'am, if doubts unte, then you will chat and chat box. Source ante ఏంటంటే లైట్ ఎక్కడి నుంచి వస్తుందండి? క్యాండిల్, బల్బు ఇవన్నీ సోర్స్ అవుతాయి. అదే ఇప్పుడు వాటర్ సోర్స్ అన్నాం అనుకోండి, లేక్స్, సీ, సో రివర్స్ ఇవన్నీ మనకి లైట్ సోర్స్ అవుతాయి, ఐ మీన్ వాటర్ సోర్స్ అవుతాయి. సోర్స్ అంటే ఏం లేదు, మనం ఏమైతే కావాలనుకుంటున్నామో అది ఎక్కడి నుంచి వస్తుందో దాన్ని సోర్స్ అంటాం. వై డు వి యూజ్ లెన్స్ అంటున్నాడు. సో లెన్స్ ఎందుకు యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాము అంటే మనకి ఇప్పుడు సన్ లైట్ ఎక్కడో లాంగ్ డిస్టెన్స్ నుంచి మనం తీసుకున్న ఒక స్క్రీన్ మీద, జనరల్ గా మనకి లైట్ రేస్ మన ఎర్త్ మీద మొత్తం వచ్చేస్తాయి, కానీ మనం తీసుకున్న స్క్రీన్ మీద మాత్రమే ఎగ్జాక్ట్ గా పడాలి అంటే వి నీడ్ లెన్స్. సో లెన్స్ లేకపోతే అది పడదు. వాట్ ఈజ్ అపర్చర్? అపర్చర్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ అడ్డండి. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఈ రూమ్ లో లైట్ వేశారండి, మీకు డోర్ తర్వాత కూడా ఆ లైట్ కనిపిస్తుంది అంటే ఏంటి? ఆ డోర్ అనేది లైట్ వెళ్లే దారికి ఒక అడ్డు అన్నమాట. సో ఆ అడ్డు అనే దాన్ని మనం అక్కడ అపర్చర్ ఆర్ అబ్స్టాకిల్, స్లిట్ ఇలా 4-5 పదాలుగా పేరు పెట్టుకుంటున్నాం, అంతే తేడా. సో డోర్ తర్వాత కూడా మీకు లైట్ కనిపిస్తుంది అంటే ఏంటి, ఆ కార్నర్ ఆఫ్ ద డోర్ దగ్గర లైట్ బెండ్ అయి ట్రావెల్ చేస్తుందని అర్థం. మ్యాగ్నిఫికేషన్ అంటే సైజ్ పెద్దగా చూపించగలదు. అది. ఇంకేమైనా డౌట్సా అండి? వెరీ గుడ్, చాలా మంది చాలా చక్కగా ఫాలో అవుతున్నారు అండ్ ఐఎమ్ వెరీ హ్యాపీ టు సే దట్. సో నాకు వాట్సాప్ లో కూడా అడిగారు కొంతమంది మెటీరియల్ సెండ్ చేయండి అని కానీ, లేకపోతే నోట్స్ రాయాలని కానీ, అట్లాగా చాలా చక్కగా అడుగుతున్నారు. సో మీరు ఫాలో అవుతున్నందుకు చాలా హ్యాపీగా ఉంది. ఇంకేమైనా మీకు డౌట్స్ ఉంటే అడగండి, చాట్ బాక్స్ లో అడగండి, నాకు అర్థమవుతుంది.